boys are back in town, the Thin Lizzy boys, and the biggest town perhaps in the world, New York City. A revamped lineup of Thin Lizzy took to the Best Buy Theater in Manhattan to play their hits and reacquaint themselves with the U.S., wheeling out classics like Whiskey in the Jar, Jailbreak, and The Boys Are Back in Town. Despite the recent death of guitarist Gary Moore and the loss of singer, bassist, songwriter Phil Lynott in the 1980s, the band is entertaining fans in the U.S. in 2011 with Lynott-era members Darren Wharton on keys, Brian Downey on drums, guitarist Scott Gorham, singer Ricky Warwick, and guitarist Vivian Campbell, whose credits include Dio and Def Leppard. The band lived on mainly as a tribute band in the 1990s and 2000s, with guitarist John Sykes and drummer Tommy Aldridge leading the way in the last incarnation, before Aldridge got injured and Sykes left 2 years ago. Guitarist Scott Gorham talked about singer Ricky Warwick and him trying to fill the shoes of Phil in the band.
You know, as far as the pressure is concerned, yeah. You know, he knew there was going to be pressure, and I knew there was going to be pressure on him. But I think I kind of calmed him down a little bit. I said, you know, we don't want a Phil clone in this thing. You know, we've kind of done that in a way. I want you in this thing because of you and because of what you can do and what you can bring to Thin Lizzy. And I think that actually kind of calmed him right down so we could actually take that sort of pressure cooker position.
We also asked Vivian how he got involved in this edition of Thin Lizzy.
Joe Elliott is a good friend of Scott's, and he's been working with Scott on remixing and remastering some of the early Lizzy catalog. And I guess Joe and Scott got to talking, and Scott was saying, well, John Sykes isn't with the band anymore, and who are we going to get to play guitar? And at the time, I mean, Def Leppard have been inactive for the last year and a half, so this was well over a year ago when this conversation took place, and Joe said, well, Viv's your man. And he was right. I mean, I grew up listening to Thin Lizzy. I mean, it was such a big part of my education as a guitar player, so it's in the DNA. I feel very comfortable playing Thin Lizzy music.
We asked the boys how it feels to be back.
We had gotten the band together, but you kind of never know, right? Are all these pieces of this particular puzzle, are they actually going to work? You know, you don't know until all six of us actually got in the room and turned everything on, right? And that's kind of a nerve-wracking moment, isn't it? That 5 minutes just before we say, okay, shall we start, right? Now we have to prove it to ourselves. Yeah. So Brian Downey counted that first song in, and it was all green right from the get.
Thin Lizzy is in the middle of a brief U.S. tour before heading back to Europe for festivals this spring and summer. Dates run through April 1st in Chicago. I'm gonna find myself